From Gimlet, this is The Pitch. I'm Josh Muccio. A little over a year ago, we had a founder on the show, Xiao Wang, who said his startup Boundless was going to help immigrants with all the confusing paperwork they need to get legal status. It's a subject that Xiao is close to, being an immigrant himself, and it's something he believed could be a huge business. Well, since Xiao's pitch, the stakes around immigration have only gotten higher. So we wanted to see how Boundless is faring in this new world. Today, we're going to play you a lightly edited version of Xiao's original pitch. And then in the second half of the show, we'll talk to him about where Boundless is today.
But it's a cool place.
Hi, good morning. I'm Xiao.
Hey, Michael.
Good morning.
Hey, Daniel.
In the pitch room today is founder Xiao Wang. He's here asking for $3 million for his startup, Boundless, which is tackling a pretty hot-button topic, immigration. Not only is this issue politically charged, the immigration process is notoriously complicated, something Xiao knows all too well, because he's been through it. But wanting to solve a problem is one thing. Building a solid business around solving that problem is something entirely different. Here's who he needs to convince.
I'm Daniel Galati.
Daniel is a serial entrepreneur turned VC with Comcast Ventures.
I'm Jillian Manis.
Jillian is a partner at Structure Capital and an angel investor on the side.
I'm Phil Nadell.
Phil is managing partner of Forefront Venture Partners with over 2 decades of investment experience.
I'm Michael Hyatt, and I invest my own money.
Michael built and sold 2 Canadian companies, and now he invests for himself. All right, let's see how Xiao does.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Xiao Wang, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Boundless. In 1989, I came over to this country with my parents from China. And when we first came over, we spent almost 5 months of rent money on an immigration lawyer because the stakes were so high, and we had no idea if we were doing it right. In the 30 years since I went through this journey, the only thing that's changed in this industry are that legal fees have gone up, and there are 10 times as many immigration lawyers in this country. And about a year and a half ago, I started asking a question of why.
Once Xiao began to dig into this question of why, he found the problem was even more complex than he could imagine. He spoke to hundreds of families with difficult immigration stories that echoed his own experiences. And then he interviewed hundreds of immigration lawyers and policy experts. He realized this process was one bogged down with convoluted legal code, opaque decision-making, and endless bureaucracy. And that's when he decided he had to do something.
And so I felt so compelled that I had to create Boundless to be the first trusted and positive brand in an industry that hasn't changed in generations. So I'm looking for $3 million and the right partners who want to dramatically improve the lives of millions of families, accelerating our growth trajectory, and actually winning an industry.
That's great. Can you maybe give us a sense of the actual product, the solution?
Yeah. So what we do is we are the first sort of trusted partner, as I said, for people through the entire process. So on our application, through our website, they can get all of their information, upload all of their appropriate documents in an exceptionally short amount of time. Afterwards, they actually have an independent lawyer who reviews these information and gives them the...
All right, so the way Boundless works is instead of meeting with an immigration lawyer and then manually filling out all these forms, a would-be immigrant logs into the Boundless website, fills out the immigration application, and then the system takes it from there, automatically populating all these government forms, and then an independent lawyer looks it all over, and that package gets submitted to the powers that be. In short, it's like TurboTax for immigration.
Our first product is marriage green cards. So you are a U.S. citizen or green card holder, you fall in love with someone who's not, and you either want to bring them to the country or keep them in the country.
Yeah.
And so we complete the G1145, the I-485, I-864, I-130, I-765, and I-131.
So if you actually know what all those forms are, you're probably an immigration lawyer. But if you're like the rest of us, you have no clue. And that's the point of Boundless. It streamlines immigration applications and allows clients to complete in 3 to 6 weeks a process that normally takes 3 to 6 months. In this case, Xiao is showing investors how Boundless helps simplify marriage green card applications.
You said this was your first product.
This is our
this
first
the
product.
only product so far?
This is the only product so far.
How do the categories kind of play out? So like marriage green card, kind of what is that as a percent of the market?
So there are 400,000 marriage green card applications a year. We charge a $500 fee for our service. So that means, this is a $200 million market, which is interesting, but not huge. And the reason why I love this market to start is because of three primary factors. One is there's no artificial cap or delay. Like this is the fastest. This is the fastest process. So on average, it takes 7 to 13 months. I'm really excited because last week we had 2 people actually get their green cards already. So we can actually show success much quicker.
How many have you had? How many customers have you had on this product so far?
So we've had a little over 150 since we launched in September. So we've been growing 50% month over month in terms of number of customers.
At $500.
At $500.
Can you stop for a second and talk about the actual math and the business here?
Yeah.
Like, talk to us about this $500. What's the gross margin here? How does this scale to be a really big business? I mean, the numbers you've put forward so far don't seem to indicate that this is an investable big business. It's great what you're doing, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to find a reason to invest.
Right.
Yeah. So right now, what we're on track to be able to do is to get our customer acquisition cost down to about $125, and then the legal review it's going to be under 1 hour, and we're paying our outside counsel $40 to $50 an hour.
So, but what is it now? I mean, what is your cost of acquisition?
Yeah.
Right. You're saying
And
40,
the numbers
50.
as of now, in
Yeah,
other
as
words.
of
Not
right,
what
as
you're
of
in.
now.
There's the
Not what you're
where
in.
we can do,
As of
and
now.
then
Okay,
as of
okay.
now. So as of now, so out of $500, our customer acquisition cost is a little over $400.
$400?
So we dropped it.
And that's only marketing costs. That's before paying lawyers or salaries or any overhead.
At $500, you're not even close to making any kind of profit on an individual basis, right? So you might be charging $500 and it's costing you $700 right now, $800.
Yeah, I would say that it's that's about right.
Why 500 then? I mean, why not at least cover your basic costs? Because it would cost so much more for any of these applicants to hire a lawyer.
Right.
I mean, like $500 an hour. So I think that perhaps you're not pricing it as,
Let's hear, how did you come
Yeah.
up with the $500 price point?
Yeah. So when I first started, I before I built the product, I created a separate company that was just pitching like the set of value props and the set of services at different price points. And at the $500 point was where it was the highest price that I was setting with the level of interest that we had. But I want to, I guess, maybe take a step back here and talk about this not as a business model unit economic story for today, as opposed to where I want to go. I'm trying to build the world's largest data set of immigrants, right? That no one else has. And to do that, we're focused on how do we acquire customers, and how do we delight the shit out of them. And then after that, then is when we can start bringing in all of these other products because they already trust us and they already come to us on a regular basis for information.
Did you say delight the shit out of them?
Yeah.
Okay. Just checking.
Have you increased the price ever?
From $500, we have not yet. So we haven't done any experiments on the price side. But I want to say, this is what's exciting about it. And we do the first green card right now. In 2 years, they have to go from a conditional to a permanent green card, which is another transaction. And then a year after that, they can do naturalization, which is another transaction. There's no reason they would go to anyone else for their future applications because they have to start from scratch again.
Xiao's pushing the investors to look beyond today's numbers, past high costs and low profits, to where he's focused, the future, one with return customers, data plays, and new products. But the key word here is future, and it's not clear how he plans to get from here to there.
What's the thesis around the raise? Why raise now and kind of why dilute yourself more?
is why I think that it's a very timely moment in this industry, where if the net goal is that I'm going to be the brand in immigration, right? So I want to own the entire space, and I want at every community potluck, piano recital, like wherever people are and immigrants gather in very tight-knit communities and they always talk about immigration, always want Boundless to be in that conversation. And to get there, like this moment right now where people, green card holders, are being deported and being rescinded, and the administration is expanding the definition of who no longer qualifies for a green card or can lose their green card. Like there's a huge amount of anxiety and uptick. Naturalization applications are up 30%. Like there's people really want to move forward in this process. And so there are 9 million people who are eligible to naturalize and don't. And when they did a nationwide survey, they found that like over 60% was because they had no information about how to naturalize. And that's like exactly what we do.
It's decision time. Has Xiao convinced investors to set aside their concerns about his numbers and focus instead on his larger vision? Michael's up first.
So I like you. I think you're very smart. And you've done a lot of very smart things. You're passionate. You're thoughtful. So in that bucket, I check that off. In the market, it's super interesting. I mean, this is a big issue. I guess my when I step back and I look at this, I don't think your business is actually that investable right now. I wanted you to come here today at the stage you're at and the amount you're asking for is to say, listen, this is what we worked out. This is how much money. This is how we're going to get to a bigger bottom line. I was expecting you to really lay out ancillary services and actually lay out some more math to your business. You haven't come here and said, I'm bringing something to the table that's awesome and new. I like the idea that you're going to play with data. That's smart. But I really haven't seen anything that, sets you apart. So for those reasons, I'm passing, but I wish you the best.
Thank you.
Michael is out. Here's Daniel.
So I think, as I step back, it's kind of, you seem like a really thoughtful founder, sort of the exact type of founder that we like to back. You're kind of innovating in what I consider to be what obviously I think is a pretty broken, industry, but one that's really big. So I would like to invest, but overall, I think you're a tier one founder operating in a pretty interesting space, with the opportunity to build a really big business. So would love to back you.
I couldn't agree more with everything Daniel said. In fact, I just think your approach to this is very smart, very well thought out. You're right in that this is a relationship business, right? And I see, normally I focus on KPIs today, right? But I see huge opportunities for lifetime LTV in this, both through additional sort of immigration services and wraparound services and other things that you can do with the data. It's a data play, and there's a lot of value there. And it's a data play, but it's also a relationship play, right?
Yeah.
The relationships that you're building with these folks can lead to a lot. I really have a great feeling about you, and I just like your approach, and I'd like to invest.
Sounds great. I really appreciate it.
With both Daniel and Phil in, the last up is Jillian.
I put this in the category of one of these countries' dumbest problems, immigration. Yeah. It's kind of it's a shame on you, right? That we have a country that was built on immigrants and the intellectual capacity, the emotional capacity to invest everything that they have in this country to build it to where it is today, to one of the greatest countries. So, on a high level, I'm very excited about this in terms of your mission. In terms of you can't get a more crackerjack founder with your background, with your intent, with your self-awareness. I love this, and for all the reasons, and I deeply respect you. I do want to come in, and I want to help you get this done. And I would be honored, actually, to invest in a company that would create an easier path to fortify the foundation of this country with immigrants, not without immigrants.
I'd be honored to go down this path with
Fantastic.
you. So,
Fantastic.
thank you guys.
Thank you
Great
so
job.
much. Thank you so very much.
Xiao leaves the room having reeled in 3 out of 4 investors on a business that is yet to be proven, but feels like it could be a big opportunity. Back in the pitch room, the investors debrief, and things get a little testy.
You know,
Impressive guy.
if you take apart a founder, right, and you take apart a product at the very early stages, he checks every single box and then some.
Yeah. I also think it's just an ugly market.
It is.
And it's just like it's just a nasty space.
And
Yeah.
confusing. And
You know what? I listen to you guys. You guys are all very smart. I listen to it, and listen, maybe it's because I'm coming at a different perspective.
Well, you're Canadian.
But listen here.
Maybe it's because you're Canadian. You don't have that
I get it.
knee-jerk reaction we have.
No, I understand the politics of it, and I understand, but maybe I looked a little more unemotionally. I'm not caught up in the moment of the passion of the immigration. I mean, I'm an immigrant. I get it, but look, let me tell you, I want someone to come on in here and understand how to build a big company and how to build big revenue and understand it. I don't necessarily agree with this idea that here's a bunch of $1 million. I know in the Valley we do this a lot. Here's a whole bunch of money, and you're a great guy. You're gonna go figure it out.
No,
well, I can.
no,
well, hold on. Let me.
Really under.
No, hold on. Let me finish. So I don't back companies based on this idea that you're going to get a lot of money and then hopefully because you're a good guy you're going to figure it out.
Nor do we.
And well, kind of. And
Not at all.
And so I kind of expected at the next $3 million because he's raised 3.5. He'd come in here with a bit more. This is just me. I would have liked him to come in here and a little more structure on how he's going to grow this business to be a big revenue business. I'm old school. I like things called revenue. I like things called gross margins. I like a way to a bottom line. It's going to take some time. They call me crazy. Call me crazy.
Wait.
I
We
don't like this.
understand that. But this is actually the follow-up on this is that we drill down into the business and the unit economics. We actually drill down into the projections, and there is a lot more conversation.
And I'm not sure what you can drill down on because what he came in here with doesn't have anything to drill down on.
I disagree.
but
I think
to your point,
I think you're saying he's not there yet, which I agree.
But that's
I think
what we're
he did.
investing
I think
in.
he did lay out that exact
If
part.
he was there yet, he
I
wouldn't
will
need our
listen
$3
to the
million.
epilogue and the rest of this podcast.
And Michael, normally I'm in your boat
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
it comes
Agreed.
to like normally I want to see the metrics
Yeah.
I agree.
today and where you're going.
No,
with it.
I didn't want to see the metrics today. I get that he's early.
No,
I
I
wanted
wanna
him
know-
to tell me,
Right.
How you're gonna
hey,
get
this
that.
is the waterfall, and he's just like.
I thought that was the
spitting-
whole
You know,
presentation.
but maybe
I
you're
agree.
getting, I get. You know, in America, we're getting caught up in the immigration thing, getting caught up in the passion. But I'm not getting caught up in that emotion.
Yeah,
What
but
I'm getting caught up in is that I want to know
He
that
did.
his listen.
But he did.
And this
That
is
was the whole
service business.
presentation.
This is not.
that
This is not a SaaS company.
legit today.
Today.
And
You're
going forward.
investing. You're investing in.
Did you hear AI? Did you hear blockchain? Did you hear things that are going to make this more efficient?
No,
Well, but-
because
Right.
I think he's
It's
solving
going
a
to be
real
a service
problem.
company that's
And
technology
he's got a
enabled.
clear sort of path to expanded LTV.
I think this
13
is a great service business. I think
It's
you
not a
multiply.
service bu-
Today.
it-
It's a
today.
shitty service business today.
Correct.
I think it's potential to be a good service business, but I don't see anything stunning about it.
All right, let's
Okay.
take a break.
All right.
Agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah, let's all take a break. When we come back, a year has passed, and we find out how Boundless is doing in today's heated immigration climate. Welcome back to the show. Not long after he pitched our investors, Xiao closed his $3 million round, despite the fact that Daniel and Jillian bailed. Daniel wanted a bigger chunk of the company than Xiao could offer, and the valuation ended up being too high for Jillian. But Phil, he invested almost $350K. In the meantime, Boundless was getting a few more customers. Xiao told producer Heather Rogers that at that point, they were flying by the seat of their pants.
We had this idea. We really hadn't even, fully fleshed it out yet. And because our quantity was so low, we were all just watching as people went through our website, right? You could tell everything that they did, and we were just sort of almost cheering them on as they continue, to a point where we were actively fixing bugs as they're going through it, right? And you're like, they'll be on chat and they're like, something isn't working, and be like, just refresh the page, and then at that point, the fix had gone out.
Those wild early days eventually led to some pretty wild growth.
We have dramatically increased our number of customers to the point where, we are now 5 to 6 times larger than we were in the span of a year.
That's a lot.
Yeah, so it's incredibly exciting and rewarding when you see things start to work and then pick up momentum to a point where now we have hundreds of thousands of people coming through.
Some of that growth came because early customers had gotten their green cards, so they started referring their friends and family, which opened the floodgates and brought in a bunch of new customers, which caught Boundless off guard. They were still operating with a skeleton crew, and then
when the spike happened, we weren't able to respond to it quickly enough, and there were some customers that ended up waiting a little longer than we would have liked to be able to complete their application accurately.
How did you realize that was happening?
Yeah, it's really hard. I got some of the most difficult emails and phone calls of my career. So we had a customer that had a important business meeting outside of the country.
to get to his meeting, the man told Boundless that he needed his green card by a specific date, but that request fell through the cracks.
And all of a sudden, he called me and we said that, look, I had this critical thing for my career, and because of your process, I may not be able to make it. And it was one of those sort of gut-sinking moments where you're like, oh, wow, like this person, just like all of our customers, trusted their, something that's critical to their life into our hands. We could potentially, have a huge negative impact in their life. Mm-hmm. And that was really painful.
What did you say to him on the call?
I mean, I started with apologizing after I understood the situation. We found an immigration lawyer and worked overnight to put together a specific petition for his instance that he could then hand deliver to the consulate the next morning, in a way that we, could give him the chance, at least, of making it through this process.
And what happened for him?
So I'm happy to report that he was able to get both the travel permit in time for his meeting, and then also successfully received his green card earlier this year.
At the root of the problem here was that Boundless just didn't have enough employees to deal with demand. Xiao and the other co-founders started working nights and weekends to pick up the slack. And then when they finally hired enough people, in January of 2019, Boundless introduced its second product to help people with green cards take the next step and become naturalized citizens.
There are 9 million people who could naturalize but don't. Mm-hmm. And so the idea is that if we can make it, clear what they need to do and walk them through it and make them feel confident that they'll go through, we can, both address this large proportion of people who are going to naturalize, but also increase the percentage of people naturalize.
All right, so that brings us to today. Boundless is growing like gangbusters. They've logged 2,000 customers in the last year. And according to Xiao, everyone who's gone through Boundless has gotten their green card. So the thing Xiao built is apparently working. All of that sounds really good. But there's an elephant in the room. Last we heard, the investors worried that Xiao wasn't charging enough to make a profit. And he told us that he did end up raising his prices from $500 to $750. So we wondered if that was enough to make the business profitable.
Are your profit margins higher?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to be blunt, I can be blunt and say,
Okay,
look,
let's be blunt.
we are losing money per customer, and that's okay. And because we believe that if they have a great experience, that they will come back to us for future immigration needs. This is not a one-shot deal, and if they felt like they had an incredibly positive experience with us, then they'll continue to come back to us for more services and more products down the line.
Basically, you're spending more to provide the service than maybe some people would think you should. But what you're saying is that there's a big upfront investment, but that it'll pay off over time.
That's correct.
And the thing is, at this point, there's no shortage of immigrants who need help. There are tighter controls on who can come into the country and a lot of really ugly rhetoric.
A lot has changed since you came on the show with immigration politics and policy in the United States. Has that changed things for you and for Boundless?
Definitely. I think it's amped up the urgency. Like the overall dynamic in immigration hasn't been this bad for decades. The government now has far more leeway to both request more evidence from families who are applying for immigration, as well as deny applications that are incomplete or missing documents. And so for our families, they are understandably more fearful of what is going to happen with their process and with the future of their lives in this country. And for us, we're in the situation right now where the importance of getting these applications done, completely and accurately in the right way the first time has never been higher.
The stakes drive Xiao to grow Boundless as fast as he can. So he's kept fundraising. In April of 2019, he raised a new round, their Series A.
How much did you raise in your Series A?
We raised a little under $8 million.
How do you feel about that?
Whenever you raise money as an entrepreneur, you get a flood of sort of congratulatory emails. And they always obviously feel good on one end, but on the other side, it just really means that there's just more work to do. But what the money gives us is a chance to do it. It basically allows us the ability to take bigger risks and do bigger projects to help even more people.
So far, Boundless is one of the rising stars from our show. Raising a total of $11 million from investors is no small task. And I think investors are betting on him because he cares so deeply about immigration and immigrants. There are plenty of passionate founders who say, we're making the world a better place. But in this case, it might actually be true. Now, they just need to turn a profit. Our show is hosted by me, Josh Muccio, produced by Heather Rogers, Kareem Maddox, and Molly Donahue. We were edited by Blythe Terrell and Sarah Saracen, with additional editing on this episode from Devin Taylor. Theme music by The Musemaker, original compositions from Breakmaster Cylinder, Bobby Lord, and The Musemaker. We are mixed by Enoch Kim. Lisa Muccio planned the recording of this pitch, and here's a quick reminder that there's no offer to invest being made to or solicited from the listening audience on today's show. Follow us on Spotify and listen for free, or find new episodes wherever you listen. All right, you've been listening to The Pitch from Gimlet. We'll be back with a brand new episode in 2 weeks.